Space Jam is a film that has endured through the decades, seamlessly blending animation, live action, sports and comedy in a way that few films have since replicated. Released in '96, Space Jam was an unprecedented crossover between the two most iconic elements of the 1990s, Michael Jordan's dominance in basketball and the timeless appeal of the Looney Tunes characters. Over the years, this film has become more than just a nostalgic trip down memory lane. It remains an endlessly entertaining watch, capturing the hearts of both its original audience and new generations. The film's appeal stems from a variety of factors, all of which have helped it maintain its charm. Its groundbreaking blend of live action and animation, iconic soundtrack, comedic genius of the Looney Tunes characters, and cultural significance of Michael Jordan all contribute to its timeless enjoyment. Even decades later, Space Jam continues to find relevance and resonate with viewers, proving itself to be a timeless classic. In this video, I will explore the core elements that make Space Jam such a beloved and infinitely enjoyable film by today's standards. The 1990s was an era defined by cultural shifts, and Space Jam managed to harness these changes with impeccable timing. The world of basketball, for one, had been taken by storm by Michael Jordan, who transcended the sport and became a cultural phenomenon. By the time Space Jam had released, Jordan had solidified himself as the greatest basketball player of all time, and his fanbase spanned across continents. This period also saw the resurgence of the Looney Tunes, whose slapstick humor and animated antics were once again capturing the imagination of children and adults alike. The combination of these two massive cultural forces was destined to create something unforgettable. What made Space Jam stand out even further was the way it blended sports and animation, two seemingly unrelated worlds. By placing Jordan, a real-life sports icon, into the animated world of Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, the film bridged the gap between reality and fantasy. This fusion was not only innovative, but also spoke directly to the audiences that were familiar with both Jordan's basketball career and the long-standing history of the Looney Tunes. The juxtaposition of real-world sports action and zany cartoon physics was a unique selling point that had not been explored to this extent before. Moreover, Space Jam arrived during a time when crossovers between different media or franchises were relatively novel. While the idea of blending separate intellectual properties is common today, back in '96 it was rare to see such a large-scale project uniting two entirely different genres and characters. This crossover approach was fresh and exciting, appealing to both basketball fans and animation enthusiasts. It created a spectacle and was more than just a movie, it became an event. The movie's release also came at a time when both animation and sports were enjoying a peak in public interest, providing the film with the perfect cultural conditions for success. Animation had evolved with more sophisticated techniques, and basketball, led by Michael Jordan, was experiencing a global explosion in popularity. Space Jam had captured the essence of the 90s, combining these two forces in a way that made it more than just a passing entertainment trend. It became a symbol of the decade itself. Michael Jordan's involvement in Space Jam cannot be understated. His presence alone elevated the movie from being just another animated film to a global cinematic event. At the time, Jordan was more than just an athlete, he was a cultural icon, representing excellence, perseverance, and domination in the world and sport of basketball. His ability to transcend the game made him the perfect star for a movie that was all about breaking boundaries. Jordan's name was synonymous with greatness, and his inclusion into Space Jam guaranteed a built-in audience of fans eager to see their hero on the big screen. The plot of Space Jam cleverly integrates Jordan's real-life retirement from basketball and his brief stint in professional baseball. With this blending of fact and fiction, not only grounded the fantastical premise in reality, but also gave Jordan depth. By exploring his internal conflict and journey to rediscover his passion for basketball, the film humanizes Jordan and allows audiences to connect with him on a personal level. The film mirrors his real-life struggles, adding emotional weight to the otherwise cartoonish storyline. Another element of Jordan's role within the film is his interactions with the animated characters of Looney Tunes, which, considering he was acting opposite non-existent co-stars, Jordan's charisma shined through, and while his acting may not rival that of seasoned performers, it was his charm and relatability that made him the ideal protagonist for a movie filled with larger-than-life cartoon antics. He grounded this film in reality, serving as a bridge between the animated world and the audience. Furthermore, Jordan's real-life status as a global icon helped Space Jam transcend geographic and cultural boundaries. The movie wasn't just a hit in the United States, it found audiences all over the world, thanks in large in part to Jordan's international fame. By casting the world's most recognizable athlete with the world's most recognizable cartoon characters, Space Jam ensured that it would appeal to a global audience, many of whom may not have been familiar with the Looney Tunes, but knew exactly who they were and who Michael Jordan was. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Space Jam is the way it merges live action with animation in a way that was groundbreaking for its time. Before CGI became a staple in filmmaking, blending real actors with animated characters, it was a challenging task. The filmmakers behind Space Jam employed state-of-the-art technology and innovative techniques to bring the Looney Tunes to life, alongside Michael Jordan and other live-action elements. This blend of live action and animation was not only visually impressive, but also created a sense of believability in the fantastical. The integration of live action and animation was seamless, allowing the animated characters to exist in the same space as real actors without feeling out of place. From scenes where Jordan physically interacts with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to the intense basketball game against the Monstars, every frame was meticulously crafted to make the interactions feel organic. This was a significant technical achievement for the time and paved the way for future films that would rely heavily on this kind of hybrid storytelling. In today's cinematic landscape where CGI and motion capture are commonplace, it's easy to overlook just how revolutionary Space Jam was in terms of visual effects. At the time of its release, the technology used to blend live action and animation was still in its infancy. The filmmakers had to invent new techniques to make sure that Jordan's movement synchronized with the animated characters and that the cartoon physics felt natural within the live action environment. This technical accomplishment set a new standard for films that sought to blend different mediums. Additionally, the film's art direction and animation style are a love letter to the classic Looney Tunes era, maintaining the charm and slapstick humor that defined the cartoons for decades. The animated sequences, while enhanced by modern techniques, stayed true to the hand-drawn aesthetic that made the Looney Tunes so infinitely beloved. This balance between honoring tradition and embracing innovation is part of what makes Space Jam such a visually captivating film even today. At the heart of Space Jam is its irreplaceable humor of the Looney Tunes characters, who have entertained audiences for generations with their slapstick antics, witty banter, and memorable personalities. The film does a masterful job of staying true to the essence of these characters while placing them in a modern, sports-centric narrative. Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and the rest of the gang maintain their trademark humor, which manages to transcend time and appeals to audiences of all ages. Bugs Bunny's quick wit and leadership are front and center in Space Jam, and his dynamic with Michael Jordan provides some of the film's best and most iconic comedic moments. Bugs' confidence and cunning are perfectly complemented by Jordan's more grounded, serious demeanor, creating a comedic contrast that works brilliantly throughout the film. The interactions between these two icons of their respective worlds gives this film a more unique comedic edge that continues to resonate with viewers today. Daffy Duck's bumbling, self-centered personality also provides plenty of laughs, particularly in his interactions with the other Looney Tunes characters. His rivalry with Bugs Bunny is as funny as ever, and his effort to be the center of attention, even when completely unqualified for the task at hand, brings a level of absurdity that fans of the original cartoons would instantly recognize. Daffy's character adds a layer of comic relief that balances the film's more intense basketball scenes. The rest of the Looney Tunes cast, from the ever-stuttering Porky Pig to the chaotic Tasmanian Devil, round out the film's humor with their distinct personalities and physical comedy. The film smartly incorporates the classic Looney Tunes style of humor, often relying on exaggerated physicality, visual gags, and witty one-liners, making the comedy timeless. Even today, the humor in Space Jam appeals to audiences of all ages, bridging generational gaps and bringing a universal appeal that few animated films have achieved. Nostalgia is one of the driving forces behind Space Jam's lasting popularity. For viewers who grew up in the 90s or were born in the 90s, the film is a nostalgic touchstone that brings back memories of a simpler time of not just animation, but also sporting legends. Michael Jordan ruled the basketball court, and Saturday mornings were filled with Looney Tunes cartoons. Watching Space Jam today is a reminder of the era's cultural icons, from the animation to the soundtrack to the unforgettable marketing campaigns that surrounded the movie's release. One of the reasons Space Jam continues to resonate with audiences is the way it transports them back to the 90s. The film is a time capsule of the decade, filled with references and aesthetics that defined the era. The fashion, music, and even the film's marketing reflect a period in pop culture that many people look back on with fondness. For those who grew up during this time, or who were born in this time like myself, watching Space Jam today feels like reconnecting with a childhood favourite, making it more than just a movie, it is a cherished memory. The nostalgic appeal of Space Jam isn't limited to its original audience, however, with new generations discovering this film through the lens of retro culture, which has seen a resurgence in recent years. The movie's iconic elements, from the Looney Tunes characters to the era-defining soundtrack, continue to captivate and capture the imagination of younger audiences who may not have been around to experience the 90s firsthand, but are drawn to the film's timeless charm. The blend of nostalgia and cross-generational appeal has ensured that Space Jam remains a cultural fixture, even decades after its release. Another key aspect of the film's nostalgic value is its status as a precursor to the modern era of media crossovers and celebrity-driven films. In many ways, Space Jam was ahead of its time, setting the stage for the kind of interconnected media landscape we see today. The movie's blend of animation, live-action, sports, and celebrity culture laid the groundwork for future films that would follow a similar formula. In this way, Space Jam remains both a nostalgic artifact and a trailblazer in cinematic history. In conclusion, Space Jam endures as a film that not only entertained audiences in the 90s, but continues to captivate viewers today. Its perfect blend of live action and animation, the iconic presence of Michael Jordan, the timeless humor of the Looney Tunes, and its nostalgic appeal all contribute to its status as a beloved, animated, and live-action classic. This film is a product of its time but remains relevant because of its universal themes of teamwork, perseverance, and fun. Space Jam is more than just a movie, it is a cultural phenomenon that has left a lasting impact on both worlds of sports and entertainment, but its influence can still be seen in modern filmmaking, and its charm remains as strong and timeless as ever. Whether you're a basketball fan, a Looney Tunes enthusiast, or simply someone who appreciates good humor and heartwarming stories, Space Jam will continue to be an enjoyable and timeless watch for audiences of all ages.